I'm here with the creator of Mouse Guard, David Petersen. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty good. How's the convention treating you?
It's been good. It's been good. I like this show. It's a nice big show that really knows how to do it right without it feeling like chaos.
What made you first get interested in making children's books and eventually comics?
I've always loved drawing and coming up with stories. I used to, play pretend in the backyard and then make my own adventures for the comic book characters and the cartoons that I was watching as a kid. And then in my adolescence, I got into role playing, which is like collective storytelling with friends. And then a love of comics just grew into wanting to do that myself.
Since you are the writer and artist for Mouse Guard, do you find that it's easy or hard to cover both at the same time?
I think it has its pluses and it has its minuses. I like doing it because I have this kind of ebb and flow with my work. I can when I'm writing, I can fall back on the artist in me to not have to write as much. I can, as a writer, say, how am I going to do that? I'll let the artist figure it out. And when I put on my artist hat, I go, darn that writer. But it's very much a give and take. I don't feel strong enough to really kind of just do either. Because when I've done scripted work for other writers, where I'm drawing it, there's kind of a tightness where I feel like, if I had a little more room, if they hadn't broken down the panels this way, I could rearrange them. I could make it flow differently. The downside is, again, sometimes I leave too much either up to the writer or too much up to the artist in me, and the other one of me is mad about that, and that it just takes so long for me to do anything because I have to do everything. And in addition to the drawing, I'm also inking and coloring and lettering the book too. So it's a lot of work.
Your comic is one of the most recognizable children's books in comic book shops. Do you find that now it is a underused medium, having all ages comics in comic book stores today?
I think it's getting better than it has been. Yes, I think it's underused, but not just all ages. I think in general, there's not enough diversity in titles. And I believe already, as things stand right now, there is a comic for everyone. Whether you're a grandmother or a grandfather or very little, maybe you can't even read yet. People with learning disabilities, moms, dad, like anybody. There is a comic out there. But I would like to say there are lots of comics out there for everybody. And there just isn't as much diversity as there should be. The superhero genre has really has dominated, and I have nothing against superheroes. And even within the superhero genre, you'll have some that are lighthearted and campy. You'll have some that are more adventure cartoony and then you'll have the ones where they go, we're going to make this dark and gritty and get into adult themes with popular superheroes. And I think that's great that there is that diversity within superheroes, but I'd like to see that same diversity within westerns and comedies and fantasy and sci-fi and horror. And like I said, there's some of that right now out there, but I'd like to see a lot of that out there.
And over your career, what has been your definitive moment says, this is what I am proud of? Like one particular book or issue or...
I tend to be proudest of whatever the most recent thing is, and that's usually because it's fresh and it's new, and I haven't started to stare at it so long that I'm finding all the flaws in it. Winning the Eisners was a big deal because I came out of nowhere. I hadn't done a comic before Mouse Guard. I hit with Mouse Guard, and then the first collection of Mouse Guard won an Eisner. It's unheard of. Or maybe I don't know if it's unheard of. In my mind, it was an impossible task, and it all just happened, and it was an amazing feeling. But I guess every day that I'm allowed to do this and that I have a fan base who's appreciative that I do this, that's something to be proud of and happy about.
Originally, what was the inspiration for Mouse Guard?
I'd liked playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then something like Disney's Robin Hood. And so in high school, I wanted to do a comic that was kind of those two things. I never went anywhere, but in college, I liked the idea of the medieval fantasy animal thing, and thought I'll do something that's more Aesop's Fable-like, where the animals are actual animals, and all the predator-prey relationships are there. And that developed into what Mouse Guard is.
What is the future for the storyline in Mouse Guard?
More. Just more Mouse Guard. Right now we're waiting on the hardcover collection of the third volume called The Black Axe. It's all done. It's at the printer, so we're just waiting for it to get off the press. And then we're going to do another round of Legends of the Guard, which is the anthology series where I have guest artists come in and tell the tall tales and kind of folklore of the Mouse Guard world. I'm going to take a short mouse break. I've been drawing this for about 7 years, and I need like a couple months to draw something that's not just expel some creative energy where I'm not drawing mice. But once I'm done with that, I'll come back and I'll do the Weasel War, the big fabled Weasel War that I keep referencing in the books.
Would you ever like to see a respectfully made, either animated or computer animation generated version of Mouse Guard, either in a series or a film?
I would love to see, especially if it was respectfully done. I'd gone down a little bit of that Hollywood road before, and what I found was you do a whole lot of surrendering. And I understand, I'm not a filmmaker, and it seems silly that I would have, a lot of approval, but I just saw that, for them to cover their bases, I was kind of signing over everything. And at their whim to then not change it. And make changes just for the sake of change. And there are other animal stories out there too. There's Mice Templar, and there's Redwall, and there was classic children's lit like the Rats of Nim, and Watership Down. And obviously every one of those has something about it that makes it unique and special. And I found that at times when they were suggesting changes for a Mouse Guard film, maybe without realizing it, they were taking away what was special about Mouse Guard and making it more similar to one of those others. They were moving it into that camp, and I thought, if you want to do your own animal thing, you're welcome to, but here's what's special about Mouse Guard. So it took a lot of time to go through all the contract stuff and all the negotiations and meeting with people. And like I said, while I would still love for it to happen, I think it would be amazing. I wish I could take all that time and have put it into working on a book, because I'd have another book out by now. And I think the best way to get my story out there to people isn't necessarily through film. It's through me continuing to do what I do, tell stories with books.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us, and I wish you all luck for future books of Mouse Guard.